I own over 1,000 books, and here's how I catalog them in just a couple of hours. Hey everyone, Fini here from Fini Reads. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to share with you how I cataloged all of these books, over 1,000 as it turns out afterwards, in a relatively easy manner. And I needed to do that because I didn't even really know anymore which books I had on my shelves and which I didn't, which led to a couple of duplicate purchases. So I decided to catalog all my books while I was redoing my office. A couple of weeks ago, I switched my setup. It was just too messy. I didn't really get anything done anymore. And while I was thinking about how I want to reorganize my office, I figured out a way to add one tiny additional shelf to my setup. While I was doing that, I also sorted through the books. I unhauled a bunch of stuff that I then donated to the library. It really helped me get a view of what I actually still have and what I want to prioritize for the coming year. So when I started thinking about that, I knew my goal was I wanted to have all the data in a spreadsheet so I can easily search through it. I can easily, send it to things or import, export, all that kind of stuff. So I looked at something that doesn't require me to manually type in all of the names and titles and whatnot, because I knew I had a lot of books and I knew it would take me forever if I would have to do that manually. And I definitely did not want to do that. After like 100 books, I would regret my choice and stop doing it and not continue. So I was researching for some sort of scanner. I knew I had my phone already. I tried Goodreads even at one point, created like a new account and started scanning that, but it's really, really slow to do that via your phone. And then I'm also very cheap. So I didn't want to spend like a monthly fee or anything for an app. And then I found Libib. Libib is an app that lets you scan your books, but also board games, video games, movies, and what kind of stuff. For me, obviously the books are important, using your camera. And then it searches, I don't know how it does that, but then it searches for like the title and everything and auto-populates the entry that you have with book cover if it finds it, title, series, description, and a whole bunch of other things. Yes, you need to create an account for that, but Libib is very transparent on their website on what they're going to do with that, even if you use their free tier, which is nothing. They're not selling your data. At least that's what they're saying on the website. There is a paid option, or actually there are two paid options if you have a bigger library or if you want to have extra features like a landing kind of tracking. If you lend your books a lot, you can track that accordingly. Or if you want to have multiple people, like think your family, you want to have your entire family have access to the account to see what books the entire family has. That's what those paid tiers are for. The free tier on its own already, first of all, lets you export as a CSV file, which is essentially an unformatted Excel spreadsheet, which, yes, that's exactly what I wanted. And it lets you catalog up to 5,000 books, which that is more than enough for me. I'm crazy with my 1,400 plus, but I'm not that crazy yet. Give me a couple more years. So here's how I used it. There's a lot more you can do with the Libib app that like features that I'm not using. For example, you can tag things, you can assign categories and whatnot. But here's what I did. I created collections for every genre because I want to have that separated. I wanted to see how many fantasy books do I have, etc. That's one thing that it doesn't add automatically. In hindsight, to be fair, I wouldn't do the collections anymore because it makes the exporting a little bit harder, and I show you that later in the video. But I created a collection per genre, and then while I was touching every book anyway, right, I had to get them out of the shelves anyway, clean the shelves, and then move the shelves on the other side of my office. I took them out and scanned them, and that's literally what it was. You say scan the book ISBN code, and then you hold it in front of the phone and you scan it, and that's it. And you do that for all the books that you do. I would pause every now and then because it puts it like kind of into a hold while you're scanning, and then once you're done scanning, it then puts it all into your catalog. And I had a really good success rate with that too. So I mean, easily, I would say 95% of my books, I had zero issues with scanning that. And I have some obscure stuff, like really old books from Germany that have an ISBN code, but it was still able to find it. So there were very, very few books on my shelves that I could not scan because they either didn't have a barcode or they had a barcode, but they were then too obscure even for Libib to find. But indie books, no problem. Typical trade books, no problem. Even books from German publishers, no problem. Sometimes it took a little bit longer because then it probably searched other sources for the details, but I typically found everything that I wanted to. And the most important part for me really was just title and author. Those were the most important parts. Everything else I could figure out in other ways if I would really wanted to. So, and then afterwards, after I was done, I then had it all on my phone in the Libib app. But because you're creating an account, you can then also go onto their website, log in there, and then see everything on the website. And then you can scroll through all the books that you have. You can sort by author, you can sort by title, you can sort by, I don't know, there are various options. And then you can click into things and, you know, see all the details. You can see the description. If it found the cover image, you can look at the cover image, and you can change things, edit things as you see fit. And from there, from the web portal also, is where you export the CSV file. That's what I did. The one thing is it exports per collection. So there is no way to say export everything. You have to select the collection you want to download and then export the file. So because I had one collection per genre, I had to go through all of those. That's why I said in hindsight, I would probably not do that anymore, but now I have the collection set up. So at this point, I'm not rescanning everything. And then you get a CSV file. You can open that with Excel or I believe Google allows you to do that too. Just know it's unformatted, right? So if you want to format that, like put filters in, so you can filter by whatever author in the columns, or if you want to, you know, color it or whatever, you have to save it in whatever proper format of the spreadsheet tool that you're using, because then it keeps the formatting. A CSV file never keeps the formatting if you save that. So, and here was then the next step for me, because the ultimate goal of scanning all my books for me was to know how many books I have, and then to know how many unread books I have. I talked about that in my 2026 goal videos. If you want to go check that out, that is in the description down below. But my goal for this year, especially now after I scanned everything and know the number, is to read my own books, which is also over 1,000 at this point. So I took that spreadsheet that it spit out. First of all, I combined them all, right? Because I had one spreadsheet per collection, so I combined them all. And then I used the tag column to track which of the books I read. And I know that. Like, I know I was able by the title that I might have missed one, who knows. But while I was scrolling through the spreadsheet, I was just putting in which one of those I have read already. And that's how I'm going to track that going forward. And then the other modification that I made, I'm using one of the columns to track when I read the book, because at the end of the day, I want to track for every month. So at the end of every month or the beginning of every following month, I will see how many books did I add to my library, which I can see based off of the date added to the Libib app kind of column. And then on how many of those have I read and in that month. So I need to track what month I read them, essentially. So I can see that my unread TBR is going down in 2026. I can still buy books and add to the library, but I have to read more of my own books than buying them. If I really wanted to, I could get really fancy now with that too and import all of that into Calibra, which is a free book cataloging software. I use Calibra already to manage books that I buy outside of Amazon, to transfer them over onto my Kindle. So for a brief second, I was thinking like, hey, I could catalog everything, all my ebooks and my physical library in Calibra, and then add all the series to it, because Calibra has pretty cool tools. I might do that eventually. I'm not at that point yet. All right, I hope you enjoyed my little walkthrough on how I cataloged my library at this point, because it is over 1,000 freaking books. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about that. Happy to answer that. And if you liked the books that you generally saw while I was sharing my entire library, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because those are the books I talk about here. I'd love to have you. And then I hope I'll see you with my next video. Till then, have an amazing rest of your day. Bye.